The sun rose over the horizon, bathing the lush valley in a warm golden glow. A light breeze rustled through the tall grass as the creatures of the land began to stir. In a small clearing, a young man named Ash slowly opened his eyes, roused from his slumber by the morning light. He sat up from his makeshift bed of soft grass and leaves and looked around the campsite. His faithful pal Lamball was curled up nearby, still fast asleep. Ash had arrived in this untamed world just a week ago, mysteriously transported here through a shining portal that had opened up before him back home. He soon realized this was no ordinary place. It was inhabited by fantastic creatures called pals, monsters that could be captured and tamed. Though wary at first, Ash quickly learned that with care and trust, these pals could become loyal companions. After befriending Lamball, Ash set out to explore the valleys, forests, and mountains of this new world he found himself in. He marveled at the exotic flora and fauna that surrounded him. It was like nothing he had ever seen back on Earth. But he also learned quickly that danger lurked around every corner. Vicious poachers roamed the lands, trying to capture and exploit pals. Ash avoided them whenever he could, but a few confrontations had forced him to fight back alongside Lamball and other pals he befriended, like the brave bird Chikipi and the gentle-natured Liftmonk. Ash rummaged through his backpack and found some berries and bread to break his fast. The morning mist slowly lifted as the valley came to life. Lamball finally woke, blinking its large eyes and bleating happily at the sight of breakfast. Ash smiled and patted his pal on its fluffy head. "Ready for another day of adventure, friend?" Lamball bounced eagerly in response. After eating, Ash and Lamball set off into the forest. They weaved between massive trees and crossed burbling streams, keeping an eye out for new pals. Ash hoped to find a pal that could help gather more resources. Berries and fruit were plentiful, but he longed for something heartier to eat. As if answering his wish, Ash suddenly noticed a furry creature dart behind a fallen log ahead. It peeked its head out, its upright ears twitching curiously. "A Kativa!" Ash exclaimed. These cat-like pals were great at gathering resources. He reached into his bag and pulled out a gigasphere, one of his best catching spheres. Crouching low, he snuck up closer while the Kativa was distracted grooming itself. When he was just a few feet away, he leaped out and threw the gigasphere. It struck the Kativa squarely and sucked it inside with a flash of light. The ball rocked back and forth as the creature struggled to break free, but the gigasphere held and soon pinged, signaling a successful capture. "Gotcha!" Ash cheered, holding the sphere up proudly. Lamball celebrated with a victory bleat. Ash placed the Kativa's sphere on his belt, excited to train his new pal later. For now, he and Lamball continued their trek through the forest. But as the sun climbed higher, Ash's excitement faded into apprehension. They had been walking for hours now, and there was no end to the sea of trees in sight. "I think we might be lost, buddy," Ash sighed. Lamball huddled closer anxiously. With no landmarks or trails to follow, they had no idea which way led back to camp. Suddenly, a blood-curdling screech echoed through the trees ahead. Ash and Lamball froze. The screech came again, even closer now. Something was barreling towards them. Ash's pulse pounded as he spotted the source of the screams, a raging Liftmonk, charging straight for them with murderous intent. Though usually gentle pals, Liftmonks turned aggressive if threatened. This one must have seen them as invading its territory. "Run!" Ash yelled. He and Lamball took off in a panic, but the rampaging Liftmonk pursued them relentlessly. It scurried on all fours like a wild beast, waving its long claws. Ash glimpsed a towering cliff up ahead. If they could just make it there, they could try climbing to safety. "Come on, we're almost there," he urged Lamball. The loyal pal ran with all its might, but the Liftmonk was swiftly gaining ground. Right as they reached the cliff face, it pounced with a scream. "No!" Ash cried. Suddenly, a glowing barrier appeared around him, and Lamball, the fluffy shield. The Liftmonk bounced back with a yelp as it struck the protective aura. "Lamball, you saved us," Ash said. The pal smiled proudly through its panting. But there was no time for celebration yet. The crazed Liftmonk shook off the impact and prepared to strike again. Thinking fast, Ash grabbed Kativa's sphere from his belt and summoned the pal forth in a flash of light. "Kativa, gather those fallen branches, quick!" Confused but willing to help, the cat-like pal darted around collecting an armful of branches. Ash grabbed one himself and waved it at the lift monk like a torch. "Now, throw them all and use Ember." Kativa hurled the branches surrounding the lift monk. As soon as they landed, Ash's Kativa breathed a blast of flame over the pile, igniting it. The lift monk recoiled from the ring of fire now blazing around it. "Go, go!" Ash urged. He returned Kativa, and together they ascended the cliff while the lift monk was distracted, Lamball boosting them up with its sturdy body. At last they reached the top and collapsed in exhaustion. Below, the flames eventually died down, and the lift monk scurried back into the woods, its frenzy finally calmed. Ash sat catching his breath, Lamball curled up beside him. "We make a pretty good team, don't we?" he said, rubbing the pal's head fondly. Lamball licked his hand in agreement. They had escaped danger today, thanks to teamwork and quick thinking. Ash gazed out at the sweeping view of the valley from up here. In the distance, smoke rose from his campsite's fire pit. "There's our way home," Ash said with relief. After a short rest, he and Lamball descended the cliff and hiked back to their camp, ready for some well-deserved relaxation. But Ash knew more challenges awaited him in this untamed world. He would need to gather a team of many more loyal pals if he wanted to survive, and one day find a way back home. For now, though, he was thankful for Lamball and his new friend Kativa. Together, they would face whatever this strange land threw at them next.